Okay, now we're going to move to three that are commonly known as the BSEs, which stands for bovine spongiform encephalopathy. Over on the right, there should be it's spongiform, SPONGI, form encephalopathy. That's a pretty long word, but what it means is cow, bovine is cow. Spongiform means that there's going to be holes bored in the brain, so your brain's going to look like a sponge. And encephalopathy means swelling of the brains. Anything encephalitis, encephalopathy, that's the brain. So this is mad cow, Scrapies, and Crutchfield Jacobs. All of these are BSEs. All right, let's take Mad Cow. Mad Cow, obviously, is in cattle, and they get it from their feed. Now, these three are prions, and a prion is a misfolded protein. And if you remember back to your proteins, your primary structure is done on the ribosome, and then your secondary and tertiary structures, the bending and folding, the pleat, the helix, and then the folding of the R groups occurs in the Golgi. So when these proteins, these brain proteins, get to the Golgi, some of them can get misfolded. And in that case, that's what happens with mad cow. These are going to be um, very neurological, um, serious symptoms. The nervous system, the brain is not connecting with the muscles correctly. So there is a lot of neuromuscular issues. The cows fall down, they can't stand up, they can't use their muscles very well at all. They end up going blind. It's really pitiful. Videos of them, and you can look up videos. They bang their heads on their stalls, and they die. So with any kind of BSC, they are all going to form these holes inside of the brain, and that's what gives the brain a spongy look. And everybody has seen a sponge, and you can't live like that because wherever those holes are, the transmission between the brain and that part of the body is going to be interrupted. I went to Spain actually with a group of honors kids at the when we were in the other building, and they were having an outbreak of mad cow when we were there, and we couldn't eat any meat. You cannot eat any meat from the cow, or you will get mad cow as well. So they had to what they had to do was they slaughtered all of the cattle in all of those big bull farms, and they had to burn the fields because if the cattle had been eating the feed and it was in the feed and any of the feed fell into the grass, and cows aren't really neat eaters, when it fell into the grass, then anybody could pick it up, and it would also cause them to get diseased. So they just had to burn the fields and slaughter all the cattle. And of course, the feed companies had to shut down and destroy all the feed. So, in that respect, they're usually able to contain mad cow. I think California, at one time in Northern California, had an outbreak. I might be mistaken on that, but I do remember that. But we could only eat meat from Planet Hollywood because the meat in Planet Hollywood came from America. So mad cow is pretty serious. Scrapies is nothing more than mad cow in sheep, and this comes from contaminated feed, and the contaminated feed causes the prions, the proteins to misfold, and also for them it's neurological. So if you look at the symptoms, it's the same. They can't use their muscles, they go blind, and it bores holes in their brain. It is the same disease, it just jumped species from the cow to sheep. Now, when it is in people, and that is a very common thing to happen because these are all mammals, it is called Crutchfield Jacobs disease. Dr. Crutchfield and Dr. Jacob first observed it in people. And this comes from eating cow meat or sheep, I guess that's mutton, that was infected with mad cow. And if the animal has been infected, then we are going to be infected as well, because they're going to make the same brain proteins as we do, and we're not going to be able to make them correctly either. So for us, there's neurological disorders. It bores holes in the brain. And for us, it starts, but usually death doesn't come right away. It usually takes about a year for the disease to actually bore enough holes in the brain to where we have all of these neurological problems. This would be a good one. One of these would be a good one to look up on the internet and write a paragraph about, because we probably have had outbreaks that I'm not aware of, and doing a little bit of digging on the BSCs. Look at some pictures. Check out some pictures of what the brain looks like. I would have shown you one where there's a normal brain and then the brain of somebody that actually died of a BSC. So it's pitiful. So the group name now is going to be a BSE, bovine spongiform encephalopathy, and then you have the three diseases. Like we have a group name of the hemorrhagic fevers, and then there's four of those. So the group name is BSE, and then within the BSE we have mad cow scabies and Crutchfield Jacobs.